So I started engineering in regional engineering college in Surat School, which are called now NIIT. So I went to US, joined the architecture, degree in Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri, which is one of the best schools in the US. We're building computers and learned building servers and all of that. So that's what I was doing for
Hmm.
as on my own business, which was called DesignNet at that time. We got in touch with NASDAQ, which was keen, the first woman entrepreneur in the networking space, not heard of. The day that we actually got the interview done for the listing and for BSC Anand scandal broke out. And that was the end of our listing journey. I had him while I was still 42, 3 days before my 43rd birthday. Trust your instincts. When your mind and heart are telling you that something is wrong, something is definitely wrong. Once I was given the opportunity to join FBI, I had come down with a 5 week permission to apply for my divorce and head back and go to Quantico. My friends are awesome. And till date, my family, except for my sisters and my parents, whom I told, uh, none in my extended family, age-old ancestral people, did not ask who the father is. So once you have your child, they're part of who you are.
Hmm.
So if you want to do something, how do they stop you from doing anything?
You got into one of the top colleges of the country in India, dropped midway through, moved across oceans and continents, got back, got married, got cheated on, started your own company, went back, became an FBI agent, came back, finalized your divorce, and then you have your child. How did you have your child, first of all? Was it through donation, sperm donation, or this is for the women who want to have a child without a partner? How was it?
This is the mother of podcasts.
Welcome to the Mother of Podcasts. The guest today, Kavitha Kanaparthi, is the founder of Soulverse, which we'll get later to. But before that, she's a dream of every woman. She's a
And a man
and a man, maybe, yeah, a man too,
and men.
and men. She she has a son. She's a mom. She's a founder. She's a high achieving woman. And she's also raising her son in a modern yet nomadic style, taking him to the mountains, to the beaches, giving him the full exposure of life.
It's my pleasure to meet mothers who are juggling both parenting and their own lives, their own self-care, and taking care of a child who requires 1,000% of us, and yet somehow we figure out how we can be us. So
Yeah, and that coming from you when you embraced motherhood after 40.
yeah, there's a story to it. Interesting that a marathon is 42 odd kilometers, right? So I had him while I was still 42, 3 days before my 43rd birthday. So I always say I had him at my marathon. I just finished my marathon and I had him. That's quite a story there. You,
Yeah. So before we get into the motherhood side of it, we also know that you are a single mom, a single parent. And when somebody gets married, Kavita, they don't get married by looking towards raising a child alone, right? You hope for the best. You hope for the best for your life. And we do have people saying normalize, you know, understand when when a relationship is not viable and take a divorce. But it is definitely painful. It is tough. The life is tough
yes.
during, after, whatever leads up to a divorce. It's tough, right? So help us. help us. I'm sure you've done the mental work that has taken you here where you are this person now who's okay with everything. But could you take us back when the Kavita realized that this is the new reality of her life, and how is she going to deal with this? What led up to it, and what led up to your divorce, and how did you realize that the relationship is no longer viable?
Let me take you back to a little bit more
Yeah.
further down, further back into my life.
Yeah.
By the way, I have been separated since 2003, was married in 2002. It hardly lasted a year. And I had, just to put it out there, that trust your instincts. When your mind and heart are telling you that something is wrong, something is definitely wrong. And yet I went ahead, despite my misgivings, circumstances or whatever, went ahead and married. Within a year, all my instincts were just right there up in front of um my life to be witnessed. And people would call me and tell me different stories. And then I was like, maybe I'm just, or maybe they're misunderstanding. But within the year, it was very clear that they were not issues, they were glaring events happening, adultery, um, you know, thieving of my money, manipulation of my business, everything put
Hmm.
together.
Hmm.
And the goal was that, me being an American citizen, they would probably would get their visa, or while they manipulated, they hoped that I wouldn't realize, and once they got there, they could do whatever they want. um so the fact that I put my foot down that my marriage would not be a source of their visa, and that I was very clear from the beginning, and that they would have to earn on their own, and they would have to make their own way to the US if they wanted to be there. And while since I was still living in India, there was no, I'd come down to build a business in India. So there was no need for them to have a visa.
Hmm.
We're there. So while we are doing this, they could earn their own visa on their own merit. This something was because I've experienced so many of my friends, marriages falling apart once the visa came through.
Hmm.
I had my strict, belief that I should not be probably responsible for that for
Hmm.
somebody.
Hmm.
So, and my divorce came through in
Hmm.
2015, because of which I had to wait
10
to have.
years. Almost 10 years. More than that, in fact.
So, yeah. So, and because of that, because of which I had to wait to have a child. I had no contact with him, and so if I had to
So
have a
the
child,
child, he is
is
not the
not.
father.
So because of which, so if I had a child while I was still married,
Hmm.
I would have to prove that it is not his child.
Yeah.
How would I prove that somebody's not the father when I don't even know where they are?
Yeah.
So Indian court system took that long. It was kind of complicated,
Hmm.
not kind of, it was very complex.
Hmm. Hmm.
There was a bigamy case I had to fight, criminal case I had to fight, a civil case I had to fight. So three cases all by myself in India,
Hmm.
without parents, without siblings in Bangalore.
Hmm.
That was that. So
Wow.
it
10
was a
years.
long
It took
journey.
10
So,
years to, get
so I
the.
came to India in 2005.
Hmm.
Once I was given the opportunity to join FBI. I had come down with a 5 week permission to apply for my divorce and head back and go to Quantico.
Hmm.
And once they gave me the schedule, finish my training, and become an agent. So I'd come down at the time to
Are
file
you
for divorce.
comfortable talking about this?
Yeah, I'm comfortable. It's just the thoughts come to me a little. Uh, um, so yes, so I did. In 2005 I came down. In 2015 I got my divorce. In 2016 I had my son.
Wow. Wow.
That's quite a story, Kavita, and
Kavita.
it's really brave of you to share it because I don't think it's easy to go back to the
Hardest parts of your life. Yeah.
life.
But it's I think it's a good thing that you're able to do it so smoothly. Kavita, take us. You're a high achieving woman. You're an intelligent woman. You've done it. You've almost done it all so far. Take us through your career journey a little bit. Who was Kavita when she started her schooling and where she did it and how she moved from her schooling to the US and to FBI and then Soulverse? What's the journey there?
Wow, I know. So I started engineering in regional engineering college in Surat School, which are called now NIITs.
Yeah, my
Uh,
father is from one.
wow, which one?
Silchar.
Okay,
It was called
I
REC
started.
Silchar then.
Okay, I was in REC Surat School in Karnataka.
Oh.
I was there for a year, and then things didn't go so well because I was having fights with my professors. I'd hurt my back in a basketball game in front of the whole college and Manipal College, which we were playing against, and I was in bed rest, which he did not trust. My professor did not trust that I had gone home for recovery, and he thought I was gallivanting away with boys, and he had me stand up and said that he would not give me attendance to, sit for the exams. And I had to tell him that, sir, and I had already, submitted my medical reports in the admission office, and I do have the attendance they had given me, and he just wanted to kind of, put me, in the same bracket as everybody else, and I had kind of had a fight with him, which didn't kind of really bode well for my, the next steps. So I left and went to US,
You
joined the
left
architect
engineering midway?
midway. I had joined in civil and I got promoted to electrical engineering in my second semester because of my performance in the first year. I'm in the first semester. And then, he was the head of my department, and that wasn't really going well. So, so I went to US, joined the architecture, degree in Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri, which is one of the best schools in the US, private schools. And always wanted to be, I'm always, loved creation. So architecture was one of my things I chose. It didn't happen here. So when I went there, I got a chance to do it. So I did that. Then I was in architecture school, but it was more oriented, the course was more oriented towards history, which I was itching to learn more design. So I went and joined in the same college. I shifted to computer engineering, and then I was in that. While I was doing that, and it was just like, it's been a long journey already. So I wanted to just get out and do my own thing. So I went to my advisor. I told my dad that I wanted to stop studying and get out. And he was like, why don't you just go to an advisor and talk to him? He'll probably find your way out. So I went and sat with him, and we did a complete audit of all the things I had done. And then I had two things I had to do. Um, one lab I had to do in electrical, and then one English course I had to do to actually get a degree, all of the things I had done. So I did that, and I got my electrical engineering degree.
Wow.
So I've done all of that. So
Yeah.
I stepped out, and I was itching to do hardware, which is like I like putting things together. So I didn't want to code. I did good interviews even with the government and all of that stuff, but I was itching to do something on my own. I wanted to, and computers were just coming out, and computer parts were the rage. You could just go to corner store and get parts like video cards and sound cards and motherboards and the shells and everything. You can build your own computer. So I was doing, and my partner then was big time into that too, and so we were building computers and learned building servers and all of that. So that's what I was doing for as on my own business, which was called DesignNet at that time, building servers for and taking consultancy projects for big banks and stuff like Chase Manhattan Bank in Manhattan and all that.
Wow.
Doing that, and then came to India to set up a data center, and met the would-be husband, married. Things
What
didn't
was
go
the
so well.
age?
I was 2000 would be, I was 26, 27.
Okay. So was there like this family sort of a thing telling you that's it's time to get married, have children? Was that
Yeah,
anywhere
my
happening?
family didn't really, you know,
Bother
uh,
about all these things.
marriage was not on the table. If you wanted to get married, you got married. If you
Yeah.
three girls, we all got married at our own
Yeah.
will.
Wow.
There was no you need to get married now kind of a thing. But yeah, so um, yeah,
So
so
you're
and
here,
then
you came back to India and you
yeah, so and then so I met him for work, and all of that.
Hmm.
We started to build a data center business,
Wow.
which was really well received by Nortel Networks, IBM.
Okay.
Hitachi was just building their cloud computers at the time. They were eager to be part of
Okay.
the data center business.
Where
So
was
we
this data center based out of?
Bangalore,
Bangalore. Okay.
Bangalore.
Bangalore. And we got in touch with NASDAQ, which was keen, the first woman entrepreneur in the networking space, not
Hmm.
heard of,
Uh-huh.
hardware and all of that. So they were very supportive of everything that we were doing. We got, listings in India, BSE. We had gone to list for the IPO, and then all hell broke loose at BSE because Anand Radhi's, the day that we actually got the interview done for the listing and for BSC, Anand Radhi's scandal broke out. And that was the end of our listing journey because he was the one who had cleared our file. So that was that.
Ah.
Though we were not
Kavit,
responsible for any bribing. And that was that. So that was the end of that journey. So that, and then that was the end of my marriage too at the time. So I wrapped up 2003, went to US.
so
Uh,
while you were, okay, you were setting up the data center, you got married, your marriage ended. Uh, when was the time, like when did the FBI thing happen? When you got back to the
When I got
US?
back to US, it was just a strong blow because financially I had put in a lot of money, including my family's, my parents, everybody, helped me with that,
Hmm.
with the setting up of all of the things that we did.
Hmm.
It was a big, it was financially, it was staggering. So I went back, took a break, just joined retail space to clear my head. And well, I was, kind of charting out my paths. I wanted to put my analytical skills to test and apply to FBI on a whim. And I do have strong inclination of, everybody used to call me lawyer when I was a child because of the kind of, analysis or the arguments I could put forth, right? So I joined, I applied, a year, 1 year, 1 month later, I got cleared everything, all the
And what
exams.
was your job there?
FBI agent,
Okay.
special agent.
Okay.
So I got my results on August 5th, 2005, August 5th. I got a call saying that I cleared everything. So now that I would be going to Quantico whenever the next batch I would be, assigned to. And I got my letter, I think on August 8th or something like that. I received my letter of that.
Well,
And then August 18th, I reached India to apply for my divorce. The rest is history. Got caught in
Wow,
the.
so many things have been happening simultaneously in your life. And tell us about your mental state at this point. I mean, it's just going up and down and up and down, and what's happening up here?
The same thing, up and down. You go
And
with the
how are you
flow.
dealing with it?
I have uh, a very great family, in the sense of that they understood. Um, they were, initially there was a lot of, why, what, how, but, they stood by me to kind of to process what was happening.
Hmm.
And then my extended family, my
Hmm.
dad's eldest brother, everybody in the village, my cousins, they would call me every other day to check up on me and to see how I was doing, what case was next. So while I was waiting for him, who was agreed to give me a mutual consent divorce, we found out that he was married, he had a child, uh, and during the process of investigation to file for the divorce.
Before
And
he married you.
no, no, no. After I
After.
left and went,
Okay.
he married and had a child in between that 2003 and 2005,
Without finalizing the divorce.
without even filing, claiming that he was never married and that I had duped him into something.
Wow.
So while I was doing all that, we find out this has happened, and against all the recommendations of my lawyer to include the girl in the case to file a bigamy criminal case,
Hmm.
I refused, and he said, "Your case would be in a snap. You would get your divorce in a snap if you include the girl, because no would allow her to be going to jail, and they would get him to sign those documents because she had just had a child, and I got the birth certificate. We had reached out to the Ahmedabad's government, and we got the birth certificate, and they refused to file a case against her,
Why?
and took away 12 years of my life.
Why did you not drag her in?
For no fault of hers, would I want to go to jail? I wouldn't want to go to jail
Okay.
with a child in my arms.
Wow. So, Kavita, you got into one of the top colleges of the country in India, dropped midway through, moved across oceans and continents, got back, got married, got cheated on, started your own company, went back, became an FBI agent, came back, finalized your divorce, and then you have your child. How did you have your child, first of all? Was it through donation, sperm donation, or this is for the women who want to have a child without a partner? How was it?
It was natural. It was natural, and this is the weirdest part. I was trying to um, bank my eggs, so that I can. I was running out of time. The healthy eggs were almost a few. So since I turned 32, I've been wanting to bank my eggs, but that just somehow kept postponing. And then just as I was getting divorced, I found out that that I was pregnant. Um, so it was almost, so if you see the journey of my life, it's almost like one door closes and one door opens. Um, and I was in no mood to not have the child. That was a gift that I had been wanting for all my life, and then there was no, so though the partner didn't want the child, I decided to move on and have the child.
Wow.
So,
You said,
Kavita,
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
I want to know, like, there are couples, there are women who are at a like very senior level, very high achieving jobs, and there are couples who decide not to have a baby now. You've gone through so much in life, and having a child is not easy. Raising
Yeah.
a child is not easy. After going through everything, you decided to embrace motherhood. I really want to know your perspective on the people who say that they don't want to have a baby because उनकी लाइफ में बहुत चेंज हो जाएगा और उनका करियर पॉज हो जाएगा. I want to know the thought process. I want to know. I really want you to help people understand that this is one of the most important thing that you can do.
And not it's not about importance. मतलब मुझे लगता है कि it's like stopping yourself from having this experience. So, what do you think about this?
Samya and Chandandeep, I think, having a child is just like any other process in life, from my perspective.
Okay.
Everybody can, have their own. The way you decide to adopt a pet, or you decide to do yoga, or you decide to, it's about how you commit to it, or you wanted to stay committed to it. And we do, what we think that, okay, fine, I can just stop doing yoga. I cannot stop having the child in my life. But that's what it is, right? So I can't stop having yoga in my life. That is how I've been. I cannot stop running in my life. I've run all my life. I've done yoga since childhood, since my father taught us how to do Padmasana. It's just become a part of my life, and I continuously do it. I may not do it every day, but I do it. It's part of who I am. So once you have your child, they're part of who you are. So if you want to do something, how do they stop you from doing anything? It's part of, so you work around it. So you kind of create something that, let's say I want to travel. So I find the help I need to go travel. If I want, so I talk to my partner and then my partner takes care of them at that time, or I talk to my parents. If I don't have that support, I find a nanny. If I don't have the nanny support, I do something else, or I take them with me on journey, which is what I did. Since Simha has been 7 months old, he's been going to me with races. He's come to me with to my race in run of Kutch and lived with us for 10 days in a gurudwara where everybody was walking in and out of that room, while at home you are in a secluded room and you have this calm and everything and all of that stuff, and you are worried about the little pin drop silence that you want to provide to them. And he was thrown into that before he was a year old, and being carried around with me while I'm monitoring the runners. He's with me and experiencing all of that. While he was 7 months old, he was at a trail run living. I took the nanny with me at that time because I was still breastfeeding. So that he'll be there in the tent with us. He slept in the tent on a very rough floor, and so I mean, you work around it. You make them part of your life.
We're so married to the idea of convenience before we have a child. Also married to the idea of convenience before we get married in short because life is convenient when you're single, right? You don't have to worry about anybody else's meals, thought process, giving them space in your room, in in your washroom, in your
Sharing the
house.
washroom.
Getting the washroom, especially, I would say.
So the idea of being married to convenience, because there was a podcast of Naval Ravikant saying that you know our ancestors would be looking down upon us and looking at the antinatalists, thinking, dude, these are the people we crossed mountains for, fought the ice age for, and they are here not having children because they think that it's inconvenient. So
They had 10 of them just so that we can be here today.
I thank them. They decided, to have us beyond convenience. Kavitha, you're a single parent. There are couples who decide to not have children because it's inconvenient. You are a one woman, just one woman handling this child. He's about 9 now, but yes, you've gone through the journey. You've gone through bearing him and everything alone. Tell us what it has been like. What has single parenthood been like for you so far? Right from conceiving to where you've gotten your child now.
Uh,
Mentally, please tell us mentally first of all, because this I,
Mentally, yes, it's actually it's quite charged. The whole thing is quite charged. The whole I didn't find out I was pregnant for up until 2 months. First thing, I did all kinds of stuff.
me
So
too.
I was running. I drove all the way from Bangalore to Andhra and back, in 2 days to attend a dear friend's father's funeral, and reached Bangalore around 11 o'clock in the night. Got up at 3:34. At 5, I was out there at the friend's ultra running event to support her. I was running with her, and I was like, oh, I just, my dear friend Aparna. I was like, Aparna, I just feels my stomach feels very weird. And we were like, just like, oh, yeah, it's all that, driving that you did for 11 hours and blah, 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 and all that. So, and then, and still then I know inclination. And then I think 2 months after, uh, you know, the womanhood doesn't show up, and then I'm like, oh, what's going on? And so, I test and there it is. So, I was like, by then I had probably just to, this is something I can definitely say on, I had gone to get the permissions for the race in run of Kutch to Dorodo and met the army officers and had quite a bit of a gala time. And then I go to the doctor. I'm like, I had quite a few beers and I had quite a few this and I had running. I had been driving and up and down, and I'm like, I think I'm pregnant. And she's like, okay, let's just check. And then in September, I kind of find out that I am, and and then I fell off the motorcycle in October or November while I was organizing the next race when I was fully 5 months pregnant. My girlfriends also don't figure out that I'm pregnant. I'm 5 months pregnant, and I think they still can't figure out I'm pregnant. 3 months, 3 days we are spending together on the trails, and I fell off the motorcycle, and the only person who knew at the time was my foster son. So I have quite a few fosters, 12 of them.
Wow.
Um, so I was prepared for motherhood.
You were, yeah. 12 children. I'm quite
Well,
shocked.
I didn't raise them all their lives. I raised them anywhere between 3 years, 4 years, and then two of them now 12 years. You know, so yeah. So I was prepared. So I knew what it would be like.
Yeah.
And I'm very close to my nephews, my elder sister's kids who are older than my son, and he's the youngest. Three sisters, five boys among us.
Wow. So what was it like when you were going through pregnancy? You fell off a motorcycle, you got to know that you were pregnant 2 months into the pregnancy, and then all this way your partner wasn't ready to accept the pregnancy, right?
Yeah.
Or was he? No, he
Yeah.
wasn't. Okay. So you were going through all of this, deciding to have this child, and then you had him. Was it a normal birth, a vaginal birth?
Absolutely normal birth.
Yeah.
I was running, doing yoga until I stopped running. I also did a quadrathlon while I was
Wow.
pregnant.
During pregnancy.
Yeah,
Which
this was,
month?
I think it was in this before the third month. I think about the third month or so. Celebrate a friend's birthday. So I ran, I cycled, I swam, and I did kickboxing that day. So yeah.
Quite
And
adventurous you are.
but then
I want
after
to
that,
know.
I was already doing yoga with my yoga teacher, and he said, "Okay, fine, nothing, and it's time now to." After the fifth month, after the fell off the motorcycle, then I started doing only yoga until the month before, that I delivered. I was doing yoga. So it was a natural birth. I went into labor around 2 weeks before the due date. I went into labor in the US. I traveled to US, by the way, on the last day of my 8th month,
Wow.
because the next day I couldn't travel anymore as per the flight rules. So
Yeah.
I landed in the US on after so when I went into the flight like this, fully 8 months pregnant, they're
Kavita,
all like, "You're going to give
I
birth."
literally, so I don't know about Chanda, but seriously, I'm feeling like I literally can do it all now. After listening to Kavita, I can now, I'm brainwashed.
I really want to know. I really want to know how, you were in India. It's not easy in India to be a single mom. To even, decide to have a baby on your own when your partner is not accepting of it.
Hmm.
Have a child out of the marriage. So how are the people, how is the society around you
Around you.
reacting to it? The stereotypes and everything.
How are you dealing with all of that?
You know the saying, you are who your friends are? My friends are awesome. And till date, my family, except for my sisters and my parents, whom I told, uh, none in my extended family, age-old ancestral people, did not ask who the father is. Didn't care.
Wow. Chanda, this also brings me to like a topic, Kavita, that south of India is living at least 50 years in advance from north of India in terms of mentality, in terms of how they approach things, how they bring up their children. Because North India is riddled with prejudices and judgments and in its own spiral downhole.
Yeah, I mean, that is, I want to tell every girl out there, this is my little piece of me to you. You will face all kinds of things. You will go through your own mental blocks thinking that somebody's going to stop you. Unless you decide to stop yourself, nobody can stop you. You may fight, they may fight with you, and that is okay. It is because it is their perspective. It is not a life that they're going to live. It is a life that you're going to live. So you can write your own path, chart your own course, and be willing to be okay with what comes your way, because a child is coming your way. So, you need to figure out whether you want to be okay with some of the things that are going to be probably out of your life. And in my case, thanks to my parents, who have, you know, given that,
Hmm.
I would say, the space for me and for my family
Hmm.
to be okay with who I am.
Hmm.
Nobody has asked, and nobody has questioned, including, my dad's oldest brothers and aunts and uncles. And when I first took Simha to see them, he was showered with gifts, gold rings and silver spoons and all kinds of stuff. Loved, come to see, celebrated.
You know, if you were just a story that I was reading in a paper, being a girl from a small North Indian town, a city, I wouldn't have actually believed you if you were not a real person talking to me. Honestly,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have believed you because this is not what I have seen growing up. This is not what is the norm in North India. Or
Mhm.
I don't think even in south of India, I wouldn't want to generalize because I want to credit this to your family line and for the way they've evolved their thinking, right? So okay, so now Kavita, a very important topic here is you were able to figure out a life for yourself because of the kind of life you had built before the baby.
Mhm.
That is why you were able to figure out the life after the baby. And one of the very important um, factors of this is understanding financials of your life, understanding your money, right? It's a topic that is vast and wide, because women just throw it around, मुझे नहीं समझ आता, पैसे नहीं समझ आते. Even if they're earning, like I've seen high achieving women who are earning good, like almost at par with their husbands, not
Mhm.
managing their money on their own. All right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even it's not the husbands to be blamed, it's not the men to be blamed, it's nobody to be blamed, to be honest, but women need to get up and own up and start learning about their finances.
Yes,
if,
absolutely.
if not investment, at least personal finances, that if a 1 lakh rupee salary lands in your account, how do you start treating it? Do you
Mhm.
spend first? Do you save first? Do you invest first? What is that you do? Like, these are very simple conversations that we are not taught in our Indian schooling system or in our colleges or wherever. And most of the parents also don't tell you that what is that you have to do with your money. So, the lack of personal finance education for women is a big issue today. What do you have to say about that? And, how crucial is this financial literacy for women today?
I'll take it in a different, with a different perspective as well. Yes, some women, some don't, go to the point of finding, the ways to handle the finances, right? But at the same time, some find it extremely emotionally binding to allow the man. They think somehow the man allows them to take care of their financials, which is absolutely, no man can allow you to do anything. No man should allow you to do anything. You should take care of it on your own. This is your own earnings, right? And sometimes men emotionally blackmail the woman to say, "Oh, why don't you trust me? Wow, why don't you love me? I can take care of it. You just take care of this. I'll take care of this." And their hands are tied in many, many ways. And in sometimes women allow themselves to be tied. And in some cases, they're not literate to take care of it. So all of this put together, I would say time is now for you to realize that finances in your hand is your freedom to think, to act, to be at the end of the day, right? I have suffered a lot of financial losses multiple times as my business has been down or, my personal things, happened. And only because I took a step back and did nothing for a while and planned things out a little bit and asked for help, sought help. I didn't let my ego come in my way, and thankfully there were people who are willing to listen to me, hear me out, and help me out, and to help me find the way. So a lot of the times, it's both. Sometimes there's nobody to help, which means you make your own way. If there is somebody to help, you take their help and take a leap from there. Right? There are multiple things that you can do. So everything that is in front of you is a way you plan it out, but you've got to be the one to plan it out. Nobody should be giving you the right to plan it. Nobody should be, it is your right, it is your life, just like it is everybody else's. Just like it's a man's right to take it, it is your right to have it. It's that simple. If we cannot understand that, if we think somehow that we need to be given the right or I'm allowed, you're starting off on the wrong foot to begin with.
Yeah. And how would you, so like, let's
And
say I,
whatever we earn, whatever we are earning, put away 30%. Think that you're earning only the 70%. And your life should reflect that. That 30% is always for one, you cannot work, something goes wrong, you need to move on, you need to do something else, you need to assert your right, you need to pay a lawyer to find your freedom. That 30% is what that's going to get you through.
yeah.
So
So I want to understand like where to start because you have multiple organizations you have worked with, you have started businesses, you have faced financial losses as well. So like just a practical tip, where to start, how to start it. I think this 70-30% tip is very useful. Something else that you can tell our listeners
Just
Upgrade your
where to
skills.
start educating ourselves.
Upgrade your skills, and that's exactly what it did when COVID hit, and I had to I had to move on from organizing ultra races, which is what I was doing with Globe Races. I didn't know what to do, and my elder sister always kept telling me, "You have this brain that all of us put together, it exceeds." And she's like, "Why don't you go back to tech?" And I always resisted doing that. And that's what I did. I went back to learn. I went back to brush off my technical skills. For 6 months, I requested financial assistance from my father that I would study. And despite all the misgivings, or maybe they worry that, what I would do after, they agreed to help me out. And they did. I went back to studying, which my classes used to be at 1 o'clock at night because my teacher was in UK. I wanted to understand the industry I was getting into. I wanted to understand what I was going to be doing, what technical skills I was going to acquire and build, what I was going to do. So to do all that, so I would have classes at 1, finish at 2:30, and go to bed, get up at 5, send my child to school, continue.
Amazing.
And this was at when I was 48, I think, yeah, 47, 48.
And that's
You do
how
what
you.
you have to do. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
you
ahead.
do
Please say that. Say that. Yeah.
whatever it is that you have in your life is all you need. You don't need what somebody else has in their life. So I did what I did because of what I have. I have an engineering degree. I have the technical skills, and I have the bent to get up and start again, no matter what happens in life.
Begin again.
Begin again. So I began again by taking a course to upgrade my skills, the skills I have. So that's what you would do, right? With the skills that you have. If you have great cooking skills and that's all you have done in your life, start off a pantry for the locals in your area. See how that goes. Set off some money. If you're earning 10 rupees a day, set aside 3 rupees, use the 7 rupees to keep building your company, and keep the 3 rupees for yourself. Um, whatever skill that you have, that's what you would use.
Yeah.
So do you have separate funds? Like I want to understand because there's a lot of chatter around of having emergency funds or women having their own finances in their hand. So as a woman, I want to understand like I'm bad with numbers, I'm bad with money. I don't understand anything. I really want to start. Uh, I want to know from you. Do you, after starting a company and raising a child, do you have some kind of emergency funds or, you have funds separated for separate different events or different things you want to achieve in life?
Absolutely. There are multiple funds that you will need to have. One for your child's education and their well-being, and one for you and your well-being, your household, one for your travel,
It's
right?
about what is important to you, right?
What is important to you? And there is always that retirement thing that you're always thinking ahead of. Make sure you have health insurance. You make sure you have a life insurance. And you make sure you're putting money away every month, 1,000 rupees. There are all these apps today, even Google Pay, you can buy gold every month. I put 1,000 rupees towards it, as much as I can, buy gold every month. I tell all my kids, my foster kids also have the habit now to buy gold every month. So you just do the small things, and which keeps adding up year on year. Health insurance, life insurance are a must, and small savings, in different things are a must. And make sure that for a household, you allocate, out of the money that you earn, 20% towards household. You make sure you're able to function within that money, the rent, this and all the stuff, all these things that you do. And then make sure that you have a retirement fund, at least 20% of what you earn. And then 30% is your independent saving that you can run away with all hell break loose.
Wow. So you are able to give us this advice after reaching a certain level, of mental clarity in your life. Money also comes with a lot of emotional baggage. For a lot of people, they're not able to separate emotions from money. The
Mhm.
spending habits, saving habits. They also root down from how their parents' relationship was with money. How have
Mhm.
they heard conversations around money? Have they seen their parents fight about money? Do they have a habit of being a goblin and just hogging all the money and keeping inside and not spending it at all? Or they're a spendthrift and they just spend it all emotionally. So being women, we charge more on the emotional side of life, and
Yes.
we tend to think from our hearts
Yeah.
largely. What is your advice to separate emotions from money and how to think it in that arena? That your emotions shouldn't be leading the charge of your bank account.
It's you said something about how we take our parents' relationship with money into our own lives, which I kind of did. Their idea was to give it away, raise the entire village, so to speak. And they did. And that's why I have all this extended family, huge family, and that supports me. But we did not buy their love through money. We did that by supporting them as to educating their kids and doing all of that, did all of that stuff. So that's how my tendency is to, when I see a kid in need and I have taken care of them. At the same time, I've also learned that money cannot drive your decision to help somebody, whether you have it or don't have it. Neither of it. Even when you don't have it, you're kind to them. When you have it, you could be extra kind to them because you may be at a better, in a better emotional state. But money is not the driver to help them. You're only going to be kinder to help them if you can, because you're probably in a better state of mind, because now you can be kind to yourself too.
Right.
And money should only lead you to help them, to enable them to kind of leap off of where they are if they are in a position. You're not enabling them to, you're not enabling their lifestyle. You're enabling their life. There's a big difference there. So if you can understand and separate those emotions, um, you will really be helpful to somebody without actually damaging their own decision making.
About money.
Separate that emotion from, oh, I really want to gift them something. Please don't. Give them the ability to take care of their own life.
Let's talk about Soulverse now.
Yeah. Yes. How did Soulverse come into existence? And so I went through your website. Okay, I'm a non-tech person. I'm a words person. I'm a writer. I'm a speaker. I'm a communicator. I'm not a tech person. Your website said building decentralized identity infrastructure for people and enterprises. Can you please break this down for laymen?
Absolutely. So when we look at identity, we are looking at, every country has its own identity framework. Um, like in the US, you have social security number that kind of, gets links to you. You use that whenever you apply for your bank accounts and everything. There are no biometrics attached to it. Europe has its own, identity systems. India has its own identity systems. But
Pause. What is
yeah.
identity systems?
Well, this is your birth certificate, your driver's license, your PAN number, your, like a social security number, tax number, voter ID number, all of that. That is what is called identity infrastructure, right?
Okay.
So what is your identity?
Everything that government has on us, all the
Yeah.
data that they have. Okay.
So may I ask you two ladies at this time, Chandandeep and Soumya, what is your identity?
My identity, I'm a mom. That's my identity.
And Chandandeep?
Okay, I am a mom, but I want to be more than a mom. I fight identity crisis almost every day, and that's it.
So, but you are Soumya and you're Chandandeep. You're not your driver's license. You're not your birth certificate. You're not your voter ID card. right? So would you like to be Soumya.soul and Chandandeep.soul?
What does it mean by being Soumya.soul or Chandandeep
So
by
your
soul?
identity begins with you.
Yeah. Okay.
You, right? When you're providing biometrics to a system like Aadhaar, it is not being to create, it is not being literally used to create your identity, but it is being created to monitor your activity, because your activity, or authorize your activity, so to speak. No, let's not say monitor, let's say authorize your activity. Let's say you get a bank account or anything like that. But how about you create your own identity and ask the government, now, if you want to give me a driver's license, why don't you give, this is my ID here. This is, I'm Soumya dot something. Why don't you send me a verifiable credential to it, a paperwork to it, saying that I can prove that I have a driver's license, I've passed the driving test. So when I give my driving license, when I need to prove that I have a driving license, I still use Soumya.soul or Soumya, whatever it is, my ID. And it'll just say that I have the eligibility to drive.
Okay.
Driver's license is not my identity.
Okay.
So we're trying to reverse engineer the whole identity as a self-sovereign identity. So enterprises also enable you with that framework to be you, and also to be able to, as across their enterprises, they also require your individual identity to function, right? To create your payroll, to whatever it is, and all of that stuff. We create enterprise solutions and also individual solutions for you to function independently without having to, for the government to say, I allow you to get a driver's license. I allow you to get a passport.
But for this to function, the government will have to accept it, or the system will have to accept it as a valid form of identity, right?
And the reason why they are doing that, because Europe has passed self-sovereign identity laws, digital identity laws. Bhutan has already implemented this. Singapore is doing it, and the countries are recognizing the requirement for a decentralized identity because it actually secures the entire system. Because now this identity is issued on a decentralized ledger, which is the backbone of a blockchain technology. It is, and it is not sitting in a server somewhere, on a single server somewhere. It is across the nodes, and which is more safer for any faulty systems, for cybersecurity attacks, fraud, and hacking, and all of that. So the governments are, recognizing the importance of decentralized ledgers. On a decentralized ledger, your ID would be a decentralized ID, which is what we are saying, that the ID would start with you in a decentralized manner.
Okay. So can
And
you give
everything
us
else gets attached to it instead of government giving you multiple IDs.
Okay. So instead of having an Aadhaar, a PAN, a driver's license,
A voter ID.
a so on and so forth, a ration card, you have one
One.
decentralized ID that acts as
And the government can say that, okay, fine, this person is eligible to vote in this country, and give you a verifiable credential.
okay. So
Plus
can you
that,
give me a scenario where having a decentralized identity for myself is beneficial than what the current scenario is doing to us?
It is right now, if you, let's say you have to take your driver's license and show the cop, or show at a bar to prove your age. You don't know who's taking your address, and security issues because of that. So in a decentralized identity form, you only prove that you're over 18, or that you're eligible to drive, or that you have the passport. Let's say you go to a hotel, your Aadhaar card is being copied and filed away, and anything can happen, right? And in this scenario, you will not present the Aadhaar card. You will just scan a QR code that they present to you, and they request that you verify that you have an Aadhaar card, and this is the person. So you scan your biometrics in your cell phone, not on their system, which stays with you, and you prove that you are this person, so and so, and it goes into their system. You can simply allow, they get a yes or no answer that you have an Aadhaar. They don't need to know what your Aadhaar number is, or they need to see that you have an Aadhaar and that you are an eligible Indian citizen to
Okay.
function in this country is all that they need to know.
Okay. So just to make it a little bit more clear to our viewers, to our listeners, what can what is the extent of what can go wrong if my Aadhaar is with a mal-intentioned person?
I'm sure there are about 10 people who have your Aadhaar card by now.
Yeah. Everybody in India, I think. Most of the people.
Yeah, with a different name, with a different, and that is being, that is being done everywhere. Because most of the migrant workers who come in, they all are receiving, and that this is something that is being put out by the by the government itself, that this is epidemic. So it is not my words; it is data that's out there that other cards are being issued to people who are not even citizens of the country.
Yeah.
And migrant workers have multiple other cards with different names, changing the religion often because they can be marginalized, and that is prevalent. So, and how is that helping anybody?
Okay.
A lot of the
So,
time, even the pension systems are abused and misused by fake Aadhaar cards.
okay.
So,
So,
The
how does
financial loss, yeah, sorry, there's
yeah, go on.
financial loss to the government. That is,
Yeah.
what is eligibility issues, recognition issues, and all of that. Yeah.
Okay. So, where does Soulverse come in, and how soon can we see Soulverse all over India and
working with the
all of
government.
us using it as our own identity? What's your vision for the next year?
Let's write a letter to the Prime Minister and ask him that. When they're ready, we are ready. And I want to share one more thing with you guys. 4 days ago, we received um, the permission. Google Play Store accepted our app wallet, which is the decentralized app. And today, this morning, Apple App Store accepted our wallet.
Wow. So, how is that? How to use this app? Walk us
So
through,
it
please.
is, so we have unpublished the apps because we are pushing a small upgrade in the biometric portion of the app. So once that is done, we'll push it again later this week. I mean, later in the coming week. And once that is done, you'll be able to download it from the App Store and utilize it. So you can actually, it is not just an identity wallet. It can be used for crypto, say, like most of the other crypto wallets out there, with a safeguard. With your, you don't have to save your mnemonics, the private keys, so to speak. You don't have to write them down. Your biometrics are your, generate your mnemonics over and over, and so you're safeguarded that way. You never lose your wallet. So there are so many Ethereum, so many Bitcoin, so many this, so many that having lost in the world today because the people have lost their private keys. We have a solution for that. So you can use it as identity wallet. You can use as a crypto wallet, an NFT wallet, and we are also building your fiat to CBDC wallet.
Wow. We'll sure once your bug is fixed, please give us a link and we'll put it in the
It's not a
description.
bug. It isn't just an upgrade that
Oh,
we
it's
are
an
making.
upgrade. Sorry.
Sorry.
So
There's no bug.
every bug is a feature, we just call that.
Yes, it's a unwanted feature. Yes.
All right. So we'll put a
We would
link to
love
your
to have the
thing.
link. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can put it in the description
Yeah. For
so
people
that
to figure out and see what it is and try it out. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much, Kavitha. This was like quite a charging conversation for me, to be honest. It's like
a
I
roller
honestly
coaster
feel
ride.
the thing that you said about the baby is just something that you have in your life and then you live your life around that
You
is
work around it.
you work. I mean, I literally it just opened so many doors for me, that one statement, Kavita. So many of them. Because you tend to have like limitations in your mind. Once I have a baby, will I be able to do this? Will I be able to go out? Will I be able to go to the gym? Will I be able to go along in my life. But
When
I
he
think
was 6 months old, 7 months old, I used to have nanny stay. I mean, I didn't have a stay home nanny for the first 3 years of his life. So I was on my own. She would leave at 3 o'clock and we were on our own. And I used to have severe vertigo sometimes, and I was on my own picking him up. And while I was feeling that dizziness, and that vertigo comes from an accident I had when I was 15, and I've lived all my life with it. Uh, and then the days I would want to train, uh, when I would have the hill training, so there were flyovers in front of our complex. There were three flyovers, one after another. So I would ask her to stay over for that one night, request her, and then I would get up at 2 o'clock, go do my hill training, so to speak, the flyover training before the traffic would start at 5 o'clock in Bangalore, and come home and then let her go home. So and
so
you
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 do
work that out.
whatever it takes.
It's your life. I mean,
Do
who's
whatever
gonna
it
give you anything?
takes.
You do what you want to do.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much.
We let
We've
you go. Your son will be coming home now.
Yeah, a storm
Thank
is
you.
on the way.
Yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
Thank you.
so much for joining us. And I hope this conversation helps a lot of women and couples out there who,
May I say one thing?
yeah,
Go ahead, Phil.
please
Please,
go
please,
ahead.
please.
Yeah.
I just want to say one thing. Please reach out to me and tell your stories, girls. I would love to hear it. I would love to be inspired, because there's so many girls and some men in my life, some boys. If I say girls, I better say boys, in my life who inspire me. And I would love to hear you. And if something moved you today, I would love to hear your story.
We
How
will.
can they reach you?
I'm on LinkedIn, Kavitha Kanaparthi, my full name. I'm on Twitter and I'm on Instagram, Kavi Kanaparthi. And
You
please,
write beautifully. I was going through your profile last night and you write really beautifully.
thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, girls.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Love. Bye-bye.
This is the mother of podcasts. This podcast is available on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Connect with us on Instagram, Threads, and Facebook.